participation trophies in sports in general? Sorry, that's on me. Let me start that over. Do you like participation trophies when it comes to sport? I do think that is what is happening in college football. Now, if you watch Rufino and Joe show, you probably know where this one's going. And if you want to watch the full clip there, you can go right on ahead and do it. I think college football might be in a little bit of trouble here. They keep trying to find solutions for the college football playoff that, quite frankly, to me, don't make a lot of sense. Like the Big Ten and the SEC getting 4 automatic bids, changing the SEC weekend for play-ins to the playoff, that if you work and play and win your way to a top 4 seed, that you'll be in. But if you win the regular season, you'll go ahead and be in. But then I look at the situation where, well, why don't we just put the best teams in, whether it be from the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, or anybody? Why don't we do that? Because it's all about money. You know, everybody talks about, I want the sport to be more regional or not be more regional. I want the sport of college football to be an entire thing for the United States. Okay, I'm with you. But it's nobody's fault that the state of California isn't winning football games like USC or Cal or Stanford. Maybe those teams should not allow really blue chip recruits to leave the state, or UCLA for that matter. Maybe they should have more structure. But if they continue to complain about NIL, who am I to care about it? We're not complaining about it. That's why teams are winning. The team that just spent the most money in college football is winning this whole thing. Just ask the Ohio State Buckeyes. The question that I have is simple. And in case you're kind of wondering what I'm talking about, the college football playoff is going to be probably expanding within 2 years to more than 12 teams, it being 14 or 16 teams. And I cannot tell you how much I loathe that. I don't think that there's 12 teams that can win a national title, much less do I think there's 14 or 16 teams that can win a national title. But 16 is absolutely ridiculous. And how you're setting up what 16 teams get in is also very ridiculous. Like this past year as an example, or any year for the Big Ten, why are we limiting ourselves and saying, hey, even though we have some of these games that are being played out in the field, just because you were 5th in your own conference that was really loaded or stacked, we should not allow you to get in because we have auto bids. Are we that dumb? Are we that dumb? Remember a decade ago, well, maybe a little bit less than a decade ago, but we used to do it in a way where we knew that pretty solidly that the top 4 teams were getting in, or the top 2 teams. But then LSU played Alabama for a national title, and everybody wanted a playoff, and that's where the moaning and groaning started. And guess what? The Blue Bloods still won. The team with the most talent still won. Who would have ever thunk it? And we're talking about equality here. I'm all for equality when it comes to human rights and being a human being. I'm all for it. I want that to happen. I'm with you. Let's go stand together and fight for it. I 100% am with you. But the game of sport, especially in football, is one man lines up across from another, and you try to beat him for 60 minutes to tell you who better of a man it is. That is the whole purpose of the game. So when you're trying to expand this, and the SEC and the Big Ten being absolutely ridiculously dumb and saying that we want auto bids, why are you giving the Big 12? Why are you giving the ACC 2 teams that should be in the playoff? Why? Why? There's no way that Greg Sankey should agree to that, or Tony Petitti of the Big Ten. We want to see the best teams in there. You know, I think about a guy like Jaden Daniels getting in there into the NFL playoff this year, and getting to an NFC championship game. They played it out on the field. Jaden Daniels got in because they have the play on the field, and they got to an NFC championship game in year 1. Funny what happens when things actually get played out on the field. And I think that this expanded playoff should now be called the South Carolina rule. The reason I think it should be called the South Carolina rule is because this past year, we literally saw South Carolina, who was left out of the playoffs with a very similar record to Clemson, who they went into Clemson's house and won. Clemson lost to 3 SEC teams. South Carolina lost to 3 SEC teams. And one of Clemson's losses comes to and on the back of South Carolina. So that game, so Clemson, it doesn't matter because they're in a conference that is not good. We're going to give them a participation trophy because they're participating in the same sport. It's so stupid. I know a lot of you like an expanded playoff because it's more games. People in the media love an expanded playoff because it means more games and more content, which equals more money. I am all for more games. It makes me more money. But there comes a solution, and it comes a part in time where things start getting ridiculous. We're at an impasse here. This is ridiculous. I actually do somewhat like a playing game for teams in the conference to battle it out to get in the playoff. That's fine with me. Don't talk to me about player safety anymore, and also don't talk to me about targeting anymore, by the way. Because you just keep on adding games every single time that you want to expand the playoff, and then you'll kick a kid out who's trying to make a play, and you, because it's a subjective opinion of targeting, will make a ruling on it and kick a player out, and not only that, suspend him. But a whole game doesn't really matter, right? Never been about player safety. This is why the sport of college football needs a commissioner. It needs a governing body. You are on a ship that is being directed by two guys who have different ideas of what they want to do. You don't need two voices going in different directions. You need one central voice on how the sport is being run. It is going downhill when it comes to a format. Now, college football is not going down from a viewership or money standpoint. That is still a massively big deal. But the God's honest truth is, why did you expand the playoff when the best team that with the most talent literally ran through everybody and won it? Now, you could say, well, we expanded the playoff and Ohio State wouldn't have gotten in. Okay, that is fair. But outside of 4 top seeds, it didn't matter. And it doesn't change the big problem in the room. The big problem in the room has been simple. The big problem in the room has been these auto bids. Guys, because of these auto bids, Boise State and Arizona State got a bye. What? So Texas, who, by the way, is literally a play away from the 1-yard line to beating the national champ in a semifinal, they didn't get the bye. It's ridiculous. Well, prepare, folks, because things are about to start being very interesting. All right, we got lots to get to. Let me get to a quick break. We got lots to discuss. We'll break down some baseball. Carter Bryant joins us at 7:35. We have tons and tons to discuss. Hit that like and share for me. Share to all those groups on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, let's break some baseball. We get to your questions and thoughts. We do that next. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50. That's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50 to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah. We're back. You know what I thought? It's funny because I didn't even bring this up because we've talked about it so much in the opening. But we do have lots to discuss. We got baseball. We have Carter Bryant joining us. But there's definitely something that you and I have to discuss. You know, on this show, you and I have been talking probably over the last month and a half to 6 weeks. And you know that if you watch this show, that we have discussed this, whether it be with me and you here having the discussion, or me and Wilson Alexander, or me and Carter, who will be joining us in just a moment. But Julie Baudouin had an interview with Blake Baker today, and in that interview, he said that Harold Perkins is moving to Star. Well, boy, isn't that interesting. We've talked about it a lot, so let's get to that very quickly before we get to baseball here. I told you, I love the move. I love the move that Harold Perkins moving out to a position where may best suit him. Now, there's a lot we got to see with Harold. We have to see if he can come back from the injury, how he comes back from the injury. But there comes a point in time where if he can be back to where he is at that position, it's the best position for him. Just in case you don't know what that star role is, it's basically a big nickel or a big safety that plays the slot position defensively. The thing that's interesting about putting Harold Perkins there at that position is bigger than most position moves. Probably the biggest, in my humble opinion, that you can make other than Jawan Johnson, the way we talked about, going to quarterback. But the big thing for Perkins moving there, again, let's see what he looks like coming off of that ACL injury. The way that Blake Baker wants to get after the quarterback from that position makes this a very unique move. You, I, everyone inside the LSU fan base have all said the same thing. Let Perk loose. Let Perk loose. Let him get after the quarterback. Where there's no real position for him to utilize the traits of him getting loose, other than my humble opinion of it being star. Let's call a spade for just a moment when it comes to who Harold was. Last year, I do think that Perk got washed up in moments and times in the running game. But there were big moments before he went down from injury that he had early in the season through the first 4 games that came on one specific thing. You went after the quarterback with him in unique ways. You did put him in the star role, if you somewhat remember, against South Carolina, that generated a fumble that he picked up. It actually got you back into the game and helped you propel to win that game. Now, Brayton Swinson was also a massive factor of that, but then they started focusing on Harold Perkins after the 2 turnovers that he generated from that game. If you're going to utilize him at star, considering the fact if you're going to do the same type of stuff of what you tried to do with Major Burns in that slot role, and we remember Major Burns' biggest game of his career being that Ole Miss game where he got 2 sacks, that can be Perkins. It also, from an X's and O's standpoint, makes it a much bigger deal, and here's why. Unless an offensive line likes to do slide protections, which I don't really think that most teams like to do anymore, he's going to be lined up with running backs and tight ends and pass pro. And I think of Harold Perkins, who was able to be big, strong, physical offensive lineman, especially in this league, especially at tackle. It's kind of more of an unfair advantage, and advantage Harold Perkins, injury or no, because I think Perkins is going to come back here to get him to the quarterback. It gives you a very unique situation here. Like, as an example, could you imagine from an X's and O's standpoint, Harold Perkins coming down on the blitz from one edge with Jack Pyburn, with Jamari Butler, with whoever you want at the interior defensive tackle, and then Patrick Payton. Guys, that is lethal. Now, again, we have to see what Perkins looks like. If Perk is unable to get back to what we know he can be, that changes the whole conversation. But I am trying to stay positive of someone coming off of an injury. I'm not going to be negative and say, well, you got to see what he looks like just in case. He might not be as good anymore. This is the best position for him. People remember Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. Isaiah Simmons for Clemson finally clicked in that third year, if you remember, when they started sending him after the passer, when they started sending him on blitzes. That's where he was his most comfortable. That's where he had his most success. With the defensive coordinator that you have, that role will be the biggest thing. Now, again, you and I have talked about this a lot. I don't know how much else I can say that we've hinted this to you for over 6 weeks. Because we hinted it to you more than a scavenger hunt. You were hinted at that this move was going to be made. I think it's the best move that you can make. Now, I haven't really talked about this from a football perspective. Blake J. Ruffino, personally have a issue when it comes to there being a situation where what you look like at linebacker. I think we look at Whit Weeks and say, forget the injury. Say he's 100%, he will be 100%. But looking at Whit Weeks, like, hey, man, Whit's going to be the guy. He is the guy. Whit has also got to take a bigger step. Whit has got to get better. Now, a lot of it is not on him. A lot of it was what happened in the interior of the defensive line a year ago. We cannot allow guards to get up to the second level the way that we did last year. We simply can't. We can simply not allow our interior defensive line midway and late into the season to be pushed around the way that they were. It vehemently affected Whit Weeks, but Whit was unable to get off of blocks. The linebacker room has got a lot to – the middle part of your defense has got more that it's got to live up to than maybe in the history of LSU football as I remember it. Guys, how many times have you seen bad play from the interior defensive line, the linebacking core, and at safety? That has been your biggest weakness. Let's call it what it is. Now, I do think that you can be better there. I do think you will be better there. I do believe that you're recruiting at a much higher level there than you ever have under Brian Kelly, thanks to Blake Baker. But that takes time. Freshmen take time. The development of that, it takes time. The move of Harold Perkins makes this a very unique circumstance. I don't expect Harold Perkins in the spring. I do not clearly believe that he's going to be out there. What I do believe is that him being in that position gives you the ability that you simply did not have with Major Burns. They didn't want to send Major. I don't know why, because he couldn't have done anything else at a high level anyway. Get after the passer. One thing that you did better than anything defensively under Brian Kelly, last year you got after the quarterback. And that's just the God's honest truth. I know Braden Swinson had a big deal to do with that. But, guys, a lot of players got sacks last year. It wasn't a massive accumulation by many. You struggled in the running game, but you've generated enough pressure to get after quarterbacks. You kicked one out of the game against Texas A&M, if let's just call it what it is. You made the kid transfer. It's what you did. I look at this situation and easily say to myself, what you have on the edge and the edge presence. We had a video that was released 2 weeks ago. I called it, or we called it, the most slept on unit for LSU football. Went under the radar. Nobody wanted to really talk about it. And now that it's official that he's moving out to Star, official that he's moving out there, I think that I am going to put Perk in that role because so many times you're going to send that guy in that position on third downs. You're going to send him on early downs and early run downs. He's like a third guy in the box, which now he can be more athletic. He will be going up now against tight ends and other running backs in the passing game. Sign me up. Sign me up. Now, Perk has got to do something massive this year. It's his money year. And I'm sorry he has to battle through an ACL in his money year. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to call it money years anymore. It's his draft year. How about that? This is it. So if you want to make the stand of being one of college football elites, this is it. All of you wanted to see Harold Perkins get let loose. Well, considering Blake Baker would have to completely change his style of calling defenses, or Perk would have to get beat out in some form or fashion, and somebody would have to be better than him for you to not send him. I think it can work. I see the idea. I love the idea. I think the idea works. Pyburn, Butler, Peyton, Perkins. You're teetering on. You're teetering like I feel as if that you're teetering on a position group that you're like, good Lord, you better get out the ball quick. It also makes an offense early in games potentially predictable because you don't want to get in third and long situations. There are other things that you have to do here. You have to stop the run. You have to stop the quarterback run. There's a lot of other things that you have to accomplish. That's just neither here nor there. You got to do it. We all agree to that. We all know that. But I feel pretty damn strong of now looking at the defensive line and moving Harold Perkins there, getting after the passer, going into the season and going into the offseason. For me, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, has got to be the biggest, I don't want to say unkept secret, but man, that might be LSU's deepest, I say room, but deepest room or scenario of how they want to play X's and O's. Now, last thing before we get to some baseball, Carter Bryant's going to join us. Lance Guidry being hired here, I think, is a massive deal. You have a safeties coach that you hired as an analyst. Give Harold Perkins over to him. Make that room one-on-one. The next time that we talk to Brian Kelly, the words that I want to hear is Lance Guidry, analyst, over the star position. I think under that tutelage of Lance Guidry, Perkins could have a breakout year. I've never really come out here and said that. Please go look at any other video. There was a lot he had to prove at inside backer. Didn't get it done. It didn't get it done. Giving him over to Lance could be a special ordeal here. Okay. I see some comments flying in here. Steven, I see the comment. It says Donovan Keys is going to step up this year. It's easy to say that. Like, what gives – like, We can't just say because we recruited a player, oh, he's going to step up this year, we're good there. It doesn't work like that because it's not all on Donovan Keys. The interior defensive line getting pushed around vehemently affected Perkins and definitely affected post-Perkins. I heard a lot of you say that LSU was better when Perkins wasn't in there. Guys, that shit's just not true. It's just not true. It put Weeks on the field more, but it's not true. You had a team post Harold Perkins run for 311 yards on you. And you're right, they got better. They ran power QB power right, QB power left, did Alabama, and we were better post Perkins. We were better. Come on, bro. Come on. That's a little naive. Bono says, I agree, but I think games that we should be dominant, he should rotate in. I don't know if that's about Parker or anything. I'm not sure. I did see this too. Connor says, let's go. Gonna listen while grilling steaks in celebration of our son being born. Well, congratulations to you. Happy birthday to the little man. And I know being a dad is awesome. Very much is awesome. Okay, let's get to some baseball before Carter Bryant comes in. We'll talk a lot of football there. So stay with us. We'll talk a lot of ball there. LSU played Southern today. Run rule. Fantastic. You love to see it. You know, I'm currently in the studio right now watching Southern Miss versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State, did they just hit a bomb here? No, they didn't. Southern Miss is up 3-0 against Mississippi State. You have some other games that were teetering on that too. Let's get to our game, though. I get it, Southern. Listen, man, early in the game, I thought LSU got some favorable calls when it comes to hits. And listen, I'm not going to shy away from it. I called out Ethan Fry. And when Ethan Fry came up with runners on base, he had batted before, I was like, I really hope that Ethan Fry lays into one here. He didn't in that at-bat, but he did the bat after. Here's the thing. I am glad today. Let's get to this out of the gate. I am glad that Ethan Fry got him a yaya, the first home run in his career. I still think that he's having a little bit of trouble getting the barrel to the ball. He did get some hits today. I thought a couple of them should have been errors. One of them maybe an infield single. But if that is what's going to give him confidence, now hitting the bomb, good. The main part in this is you have Larson, Pearson, and Fry battling it out. And Jake Brown. Let's just throw him in there just because. You have four guys battling for one position early in the year. Jake Brown's done some good things. Josh Pearson has done some really good things. It got 3 RBIs in 4 games. Ethan Fry hit a bomb. Ashton Larson had also has 7 RBIs, if I'm not mistaken, correct? He had 5 on Sunday. He had 2 on Saturday. He also hit a long ball in the right center field. Competition in the outfield or for the DH role, whatever you want to label it as, is breeding competition. I am happy for Ethan Fry. I am glad that he got his hands inside and he sent one over the bleachers and over the aluminum. And Tigers and Alex Box and Skip Bertman Field today. I almost said Tiger Stadium like we're talking football here. But today, listen, Stanfield got an infield single, advanced to second base. Curiel got a base hit, RBI. Listen, man, I thought the first inning you were still a little sluggish. You came out, you scored 2 runs, but in my humble opinion, you had 3 errors in that first inning. Stanfield, the Ethan Fry, they gave him a hit, thought it should be an E3. First baseman dropped the ball. I mean, it would have been a bang-bang play, but I mean, like, I think that that's an error. I look at the second. I mean, yeah, you got some line drive singles. Okay. Runners on base. You couldn't get it done. I do feel as if, though, once the game got going, bottom four, to be exact for this one, came out a little sluggish, but didn't matter. Stanfield, walk, stolen base. Curiel, hit by pitch. Jones, hit by pitch. Danny Dickinson, please continue to stay hot. Two RBI single in between the third baseman and the shortstop. Ethan Fry comes up right behind that with a home run. Bam, big bomb with a 3-run bomb. Pearson single. Milam, RBI triple. Aaron Beatty walks, absolutely destroying the baseball. I don't know what else you can ask, though. I mean, maybe you were, through the first time through the order. Okay. You come out in the fourth inning, and you absolutely demolish the baseball. I don't know what else you can ask from this team right now. Now, you're going to go on your first road game in the Nichols, an environment and a place that you should win. You know that, and I know that. Just going to have to continue to see this team build. Now, I would say that I was a little shocked to see Connor Ware start today, but I think that had a little bit more to do with the situation that Jay had at hand and then Cowan coming in. Regardless, I don't think it matters. You still haven't seen Guidry. I'm very interested to see what Jay does in the midweek through the bullpen. Very interested, because you like, how do you start this rotation now that you're in season? How are you going to do this during the midweek? Now, more times than not, you're not going to have double midweek games. But how does he do it? What is he thinking? How is he thinking? What has anyone given the confidence where they can throw on a Wednesday and come back on a Friday? They throw an inning, they come back on Friday or Saturday, whatever it may be. Is that possible? Does Jacob Myers get seen tomorrow? I don't know. That would be pretty awesome, though, if Jacob Myers was seen tomorrow. I digress. I don't know what else you should expect from this team right now. I think that they're doing some special things. Defensively, I thought that Chris Stanfield just continues to show why he was one of Jay Johnson's top targets in the portal. When you can fly the way that he does, when you get on base the way that he does, and he will continue to get better as the season goes on. As Jay Johnson continues to get with him and stay with him in season, he will continue to get better. The glove is what it is. With that kind of speed and with that kind of catchability in center field, you are going to have an elite outfield. Derek Curiel, Danny Dickinson. These newcomers, man, everybody was worried about them. Well, through 4 games, they have not been my questions. There's no transfers that I have questions for. Or I shouldn't say transfer. How about newcomers? They've been delivering. Good to see Stephen Milam, by the way, getting a little hot the last 2 games. Monster Milam's like, listen, man, I ain't going to play this game with you. Good on him. All right. Love the game today. Very interested to see what tomorrow brings. It's going to be a good one. We will be live a lot earlier than normal tomorrow, I promise you. Okay, let's get moving here. Let me get to a quick break. Carter Bryant joins us next. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600 Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
We're back. Carter, the power. Bryant, good evening, good sir. How are you?
Blake, I can't believe we both go hatless second straight week in a row. I like the slick back, and I like what LSU baseball is doing, man. Thanks for keeping me and all of us informed.
If I was not a married man, I'd say I was slicking the hair back to get these pitches. That's what I'd say. Okay, I guess that joke did not land the way that I intended it to.
Did. Out of anything that I've ever heard you say, I did not think female dog was coming out. But yeah, man, that slick back hair, man, that'll get the
your boys like 7 pounds away to get the 100 mark.
Let's go.
Trying to lose that weight, baby. Anyway,
Proud of you.
You know who we all should be proud about, and it's kind of interesting. We and you talked about this. You know, we got to get to Harold Perkins. I got to save that for just a moment here. Carter, I got a problem with college football at the current moment. I hate this new college football playoff format.
Oh man, couldn't agree more. And
I thought you were going to tell me I was an idiot.
no, and we rarely agree on the larger issues. Blake, I hate expansion. And the thing that excited me the most about this last college football playoff season, and I know you and I strongly disagree on what I'm about to say, Ole Miss was the best team I saw with my eyes last year. Now, playoff Ohio State was better, but that previous to the playoff, that team was so good, Ole Miss. But I like the fact that they were punished for basically shit in the bed for 3 games. They lost their 3 close games. They beat everybody else by double digits, and they were left out. You expand the playoff, they're probably getting in. And I want the regular season to still matter. I was one of those that said, hey, the regular season will get devalued. Well, with the 12-team playoff, it really didn't as much as we thought it would. But if you keep expanding it, it's going to get to the point where it is, ugh.
It did devalue it. Can I tell you how?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Ole Miss may have tripped up, but they did something that Clemson couldn't do. They beat Georgia. You know, it's funny. We talk about games on the field mattering. You want to do auto bids? South Carolina and Clemson in this scenario means absolutely nothing then.
Nothing. You're right.
It means nothing. I am of the opinion that it feels participation trophy-esque to me to not try to get the best 12 to 16 teams into the playoff because the SEC was down. I think we all agreed that this past year the SEC was down. What happens when it's not? What happens when they don't have a historically down year? What happens if 2023 happens and you have 3 or 4 teams such as Missouri, Ohio, Ole Miss, and Alabama that are, or was it Alabama or whoever it was, whoever the third team was, maybe Tennessee. I forget the team. No, it wasn't Tennessee. Georgia was left out.
Yeah.
What happens then? Now, in this scenario, I understand that you get 4 auto bids, but it doesn't solve the South Carolina issue. Think about this. Georgia, Texas. Bama, Tennessee, Ole Miss. That's 5. So basically, if you're doing auto bids, you're leaving out Ole Miss, who beat Georgia, which Clemson could not, and you're leaving out South Carolina, who beat Clemson on the field. It is absolutely ridiculous to me that we think just because the ACC, well, they're just in a conference, so we should let them in. Yeah. I promise you this. Go look at any year. This is going to happen every year in expansion if you do auto bids. It will happen.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with you there because, look, so let me ask you this. Are you saying that Arizona State shouldn't have got in over –
No, because they had 2 losses to very, very, very bad teams that also went above, one that went below 500 and the other one that went a game above 500. Right? Yeah. Like it's different losing to a team like I forget who they lost to, so spare me here. I want to say it was I forget who it was. It doesn't matter. They didn't lose to an LSU like South Carolina. The Ole Miss lost to an LSU. Okay. Well, okay. Like, why don't we have a judgment there? And Carter, here would be my thing here. My thing here would be this. How can you disagree with it when it plays out on the field? How can we justify leaving out a South Carolina team with a close record, with a higher strength of schedule, beating 4 of the last 5 opponents that were ranked? They played on the field.
Yeah. All right. So this was always told to me about the playoff from some of my media buddies who have sat in there. Like, strength of schedule just doesn't matter as much.
It doesn't make it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just sharing that because I've never been in that room. Like, I watched a lot of Big 12 football today. I put together a pretty big Shedeur Sanders. I'm putting together a pretty big Shedeur Sanders thing for my NFL channel. And it really was a not great conference.
No.
So the 2 teams I just looked it up was Cincinnati and Texas Tech. And
Cincinnati did not have a winning record.
Yeah, Texas Tech got blown out by Arkansas, all being in a bowl game. The Big 12, I watched, I was like, man, this is not good. But I am still fine, Blake, with 1 bid. I'm still fine with it because it makes them a part of the grand thing, right?
But we can say
we don't want college football to just be the SEC and the Big Ten, right? Now, I would like that because you cover everything on Ruffino and Joe. I just do the SEC. It would benefit me if it was more.
Well, then it's something that just benefits you. Like, I mean, there comes a point in time, though. I hear everybody say, I don't want it to be just the Big Ten and the SEC. Well, I got a little bit of a newsflash for you. There were other people that were saying we don't want this sport to be geographical. Well, then tell Lincoln Riley to get off his lazy ass and go lock down the state of California and not miss 18 of the top 20 recruits in the state.
Yeah, but I'm with you. Okay.
Carter, like, you can, but here's the thing, though.
I'm fine with 1 auto bid.
But it's not going to be 1. It's not 1. They have half of the voting power. The group of 5, Notre Dame, the Big 12, and the SEC equal the Big 10 and the SEC when it comes to voting power. This time they didn't, and why the vote went to 3 and 2, and why they had to concede to 2 auto bids to the ACC and the Big 12. They lost. Notre Dame voted against them. Why in the good world are we allowing the lower tier schools to run the sport?
So in Blake Ruffino's perfect college football playoff, you would have no conference champion Clemson and no conference champion. Well, they won the conference championship, but you wouldn't have them in there.
I wouldn't give them an auto bid. Can I tell you why? Because I'm not going to live in a 1-year prism of college football when Kansas State, that's 9-3, goes into a Big 12 title game and knocks off a team that's undefeated. So then that team, Kansas State, who's 10-3 at that point, would then be above Texas, would then be above South Carolina or Arkansas, or not Arkansas, or Alabama, or Ole Miss.
Yeah.
No, it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm fine with them not getting a higher seed, like with Boise State getting the 3 seed. But, Blake, I'm fine with them having one slot to make that conference.
But Carter, we can't live in la la land. The proposal,
it's not La La Land, though.
no, it is La La Land.
Full season, Blake.
Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti agreed to both of those conferences getting 2 teams. You can't be okay with one. Fine, be okay with one. But SMU, Boise State, and Arizona State, who's going to feel justified, even though Texas is a yard away from beating Ohio State, it's not justified. I'm sorry. It is. Carter,
if it's more than one for those conferences,
it's a 4-2-2-1-1, but the other one is for Notre Dame. They're leaving a spot permanently for Notre Dame. Notre Dame would have to go 9-3 not to get in.
That's crazy. So I didn't know that. I've kept up with some of Ross Dellinger's reporting. I didn't read that, so I guess I just glossed over it.
Carter, they are getting 2 auto bids, permanent. The agreed deal that they're going to come to is the Big 12 and the ACC getting 2 auto bids. Are we that stupid?
Okay, so I'm with you. Only one for them, not 2. I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you on that.
It's ridiculous. Here's the problem that bothers me. Carter, you leave out. Let's play out the 2023 season as an example. Let's make it personal to LSU fans. You know what you're doing? You're putting in SMU over Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas LSU. That's what you would have done. I'm fine with it. I am not fine with that.
I'm perfectly fine with it. Because you lost 3 games.
Because Blake, you can't prove this. Bullshit. Jaden Daniels would have pulled their pants down and smacked that ass.
Yeah, they would blow him out.
Beat their ever-living ass. And you know it, and I know it. I am not about this participation trophy bullshit. That is what this is.
But it's the opposite, though, because you're allowing a team that lost, let's just say Ole Miss this past season, 3 losses to get into the field.
Do wins and losses dictate how good or bad of a team you are?
They do not. I agree with you on that.
So then if you agree with me on that, then there's absolutely no way that you can justify SMU getting in over 2023 with Jaden Daniels. It's impossible. I'm sorry.
I think in SMU's instance, I'm with you. In SMU's instance, I'm with you.
Here's the problem, though.
They didn't win the conference championship. So that's where I agree with
the problem. The problem with that is SMU, Louisville, who was 10-4, and got boat raced by Florida State. Those are the teams that we're allowing in here. I don't think people understand what we're allowing into the playoff when my eyeballs can see that Lenora Sellers is going to beat the dog shit out of somebody.
They didn't beat Illinois, though, Blake.
Both of their starting safeties opted out of halftime. Their 5th string running back played slot receiver. I don't want to hear it.
Here's my thing. Okay.
Hold on. Do bowl games matter when that happened?
I don't know. I was just using it as an extra data point, but South Carolina to me wasn't.
Put Illinois in there. How about this? Take the SEC out. Put Illinois in. Please, dear God, put in Illinois. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, because they're in the Big Ten.
In the Big Ten does not equal 10-2 in the Big 12. It just doesn't.
So let me ask you this. Do you think the SEC and Big Ten should just break off and do their own thing?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Well, how about this?
Especially if you're going to 9 conference games, which was the main thing that I was reading up on, which is, oh, God, we're going to disagree on this?
For this instance, yes, because of the auto bids.
Yeah,
they want to do a play-in SEC conference championship game. That's like me going into a playoff scenario. I'm the 3 seed. I'm the number 3 team in the SEC. I got to play number 4. So me beating me having to play Alabama is not the same as Colorado and Houston going off against one another. It's just not.
I love I've been clamoring for the SEC championship game to be a play-in for so long. It would make it so much better.
Okay,
And,
well then here's the thing that you got to do if you're the commissioner. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
We need a riot at the NCAA building when it comes to targeting then.
Why targeting? I'm here.
Because you're talking to me about player safety and you're kicking a player out of the game and then you're suspending them for a half. So you wanted to tell me that targeting had everything to do with player safety. Did they not?
Yeah, they did.
There's going to be a team in a 14 to 16 game playoff that will play 18 games. Just for a newsflash, you do know that if Texas would have beaten Ohio State, they would have played 17 games this year.
Which is
17.
Yeah.
So you're going to kick people out. I'm sorry I'm on my soapbox. I just don't agree with Clemson being in there, and we have a format where it played out and one team's on the outside looking in when they beat a team literally with the same record.
Yeah, so here's my thing on the play-in. Okay. I love it because I think what happened to Georgia this year was just crazy that Carson Beck gets hurt and they win the SEC championship game and they were penalized for it, right? Because they lost a home playoff game and then they lost their quarterback, right? Changed everything. So I'm pro play-in, but I am, regardless of expansion or not, I am so pro 9-game conference schedule. Now I've gone, some of my biggest influences and sources are huge 8-game proponent guys. But I just see a 9-game conference schedule would make college football so much better. And I also think, Blake, us clamoring about this team getting in or this team getting in, the college football regular season is why I'm a fan of the sport. All right. So I have already come to the realization that I'm just not going to get too mad about playoff expansion, even though it pisses me off. And I'm just going to enjoy the regular season games the best I can. It sucks. Like the sport that I love is just getting torn apart.
You need a commissioner. You literally have a guy in Greg Sankey. Listen, people say Greg Sankey's the best commissioner in college athletics. I'm starting with this playoff expansion. I'm starting to call bullshit. Because there's no way that you can justify only 4 bids. There's no way.
For the SEC.
They're same for the Big Ten, by the way.
So you think in a 14-team field, the SEC and Big Ten should have at least 4 teams each?
I mean, at minimum.
Okay. In a 12-team field, I don't agree with that, but in a 14-team field, I'm open to that.
Well, I mean, listen, what got you in trouble this year? What got you in trouble? Auto bids. It doesn't solve your issue. I promise you.
Well,
it doesn't solve your issue.
It wasn't just auto bids. It was the conference championship thing. I mean, it was such a mess. But keep going.
No, I mean it is your biggest issue. You cannot justify to me that a 4 seed should be Arizona State. Sorry.
No, yeah, I'm with you. But there's a difference between auto bids and auto higher seeds. Would you agree with that?
They're not changing that.
They should. I'm with you on that. They should.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
Again, if the Big Ten has 7 teams that should be in, we all know that they're better than the team that we're just letting get in there. I mean, Carter, come on. I mean, like, it is. Hey, I'm going to say something it's clearly a joke, even though it won't be taken that way. Make the playoffs great again.
I'm with you.
I see it on my feed all week. Make it great again. All right. Let's get to some stuff that we will agree about here.
Yeah, look, I'm sure, but last thing, I am shocked that, let's just say if you had, the perfect amount of SEC bids, are you pro 9-game conference schedule? Or?
I'm not. I am not, because again, it's not created equally.
But my biggest retort to that would be that the SEC would be more equitable if you go to a 9-game conference schedule.
No, they're going to beat up on each other.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the actual teams in the SEC would have a more equal playing field because the schedules would balance themselves out more.
Why am I trying to make equality? The sport, the definition of sport is literally for 60 minutes, I line up against another man to show who's better. It's not my job.
A 9-game conference schedule better serves that purpose, does it not? Because
because the reason it doesn't is because the other teams and other players in other conferences don't have to go through that same exact gauntlet.
I'm with you. All right. I'm with you on that. But
why should I do that if other teams have lesser opponents? When Indiana doesn't play but one ranked opponent and gets beat, why in the world should I play more conference games?
Yeah. Okay. So the Indiana point, they're in the Big Ten. Washington isn't going to be as bad as they were this year, nor will Michigan. So that's probably Michigan's team next year is probably going to beat Indiana's team last year. They just got Michigan on a bad year.
It's not going to be as down as it was. So we can make that same argument. But again, you get back to the same point here for me that I can't get past that. Listen, I'll promise you this. I'll come back to this video and I will clip it myself if I got to. Come 2026, you're going to see what it looks like. And there's going to be 2 teams from the Big 12 and 2 teams from the ACC, and we're gonna all flip our shit.
Yeah, I'm not for that, but yeah, we'll move on now.
Okay,
I can literally talk about this for hours.
I could too. I mean, me and Joe got in a shouting match. Well, me and Joe got in a shouting match. I get so passionate about that specific topic because it's so stupid to me, but maybe not to others. I don't know.
No, it's my favorite topic in all college football. It's not the playoff, but structure.
Me and you have talked about this exact thing multiple times that we're about to talk about next. Call me Blake Stradamus, okay? That's what I want him to be known as. Harold Perkins is officially moving to star per report. Carter, I'm just going to open up into you. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's fine to ask a very important question if he's an every down player, okay? It's perfectly fine to not be an every down football player, okay? Blake, I'm very happy to call a friend of mine, Ron Brooks, right? Ron Brooks was the 6th man of the dime package of the greatest defense of all time. Blake, he had 2 pick sixes. You know, like Tyrann Mathieu went out for the Auburn game. We're talking about the arguable best college football defender of all time. And Ron Brooks stepped in and got a pick 6 versus Auburn. He was a phenomenal player, okay? Did he play on every down? I'm sure he would like to, okay? But he was still a very, very, very effective, good football player. And look, he had a decent NFL career. It's fine. Okay. It's perfectly fine to not have Harold Perkins on the field for every single snap, right? Because that's kind of how he was eased in during that 2022 season, right? So, and that way, you know, you kind of mystify what you can do with him when he's not on the field every single time. And what would happen, Blake, is offenses were able to attack him, as you've made that point a gazillion times. Even during that 2022 season,
they did attack him. Let's call it what it is. Teams
when his snap count, and this is just what I would tell everyone, when his snap count began to increase, teams began to pick up on trends on where we would put him defensively, and they would run at him. Okay, so that was when he started to not be as effective as he was at the beginning of the season. It was Texas A&M and it was Georgia. It wasn't just the fact that, you know, he was younger and he was only a true freshman and his run defense wasn't that great. It was that he was on the field more, right? It's that much harder to make these big explosive plays when you're on the field every single snap, right? So it's perfectly fine. It's not anything against him because he is such a unique player. But it's okay to admit that maybe he is better served as just a sub-package guy where you have him at the line of scrimmage or you can back him out and do some more exotic things with them. But the simple truth is this, Blake, when he was on the field every single snap, the LSU defenses over the past couple of seasons just haven't been good. And all of that's not on him. All of that is not on him at all. I've been one of his biggest defenders, but it's just simple truth. It is hard to play defense when you're trying to mold a guy into this or that, when what he did spectacularly as a true freshman was being at the line of scrimmage and making plays as a pass rusher. So I understand I rambled there for a little bit, but I think that would, if Blake Baker were to ask me, and I went deeper into this in my live stream earlier. You can go watch it for yourself. But if Blake Baker were to ask me what I would do as someone who's watched every single snap, done film studies and all of it, I would just lighten the workload for him and not force him to just be an every down player. And that becomes easier if Whit Weeks is healthy, and if Devon Keys takes another step, and if Wes Weeks becomes better. He is older and he is playing alongside his brother now. So if those things were to happen, it would make life a lot easier on Harold Perkins as well.
Yeah, I agree. Well, listen, the reason that I think it's unique personally is because of how much you sent Major Burns a year ago. And I don't think that they wanted to send Major on blitzes because I don't think they trusted him to be in the right place at the right time. When he was in the right place in the right time, he made the plays. I mean, Ole Miss is the game that I think of when he had the 2 sacks. The thing that the only pushback that I'd have of not putting him in there every play is I don't think he's that bad when you can make man-to-man look like quarters, or quarters to look like man-to-man, and you're putting him in zone. I think you can be unique with him because you're sending blitzes with that position. 51% of the time per PFF. Did Major Burns come on a blitz? Early downs he came, third downs he came. So there comes a point in time where you're asking me exactly what I want from him. That would be the only pushback that I'd have. The interesting thought about what you're saying, though, is where I do agree. I do think that LSU could be elite at one level. What they're going to do at a pass rush perspective, if you can actually for once defend the run and make teams stay in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 plus, whatever it may be. You have Pyburn, you have Perk coming off an edge too. You have Butler that's been really good in the interior. I know you did a film breakdown of him, right?
Yeah, very good.
Then you have Patrick Payton on an edge. Whatever you want to do in the interior, do in the interior. Push the pocket if you got to. I think that position group of getting after the quarterback starts to become asking the question, can it be elite? Look, man, they knocked that part. I think they knocked it out of the park. The problem with that is when they don't get home, I don't know if the linebackers have shown us enough that they can make the play when they need to, Weeks included.
Yes.
Or can you stop the run in general and get them in those situations? Look, let's call it what it is. What advanced Notre Dame to the national championship? They led the country in third downs that were 3rd and 6 plus. Herb Street talked about it at least 27 times when it came to during the national title game. Listen, man, I don't know how you utilize him, but unless you do slide protections, which basically it is with the offensive line, you just slide to the left, slide to the right, crisscross.
I love that.
Crisscross. Everybody clap your hands. So either you're going right or left to wherever he is. Your teams don't really do that a lot anymore, which then puts him on a tight end or puts him on a running back that's going to be protecting, or he's coming free. Pause. But that's the part where I think that because of the play caller that you have and how many times you're sending that position, that's where I start asking the question, or having the thought. Let me not say ask the question. I start having the thought of, holy shit. Like,
they could. They could
be sexy. So, I listen. Here's the thing, though. We're not going to see him until fall. So now you see a backup of what that position can look like, and I have no idea who's going to be there. That's a whole nother question to ask.
Yeah, and Blake, this is where, getting into the weeds of what the star is. Is it nickel? Is it this or whatever? Tamarcus Cooley, man, he's a different player, but he played a lot of nickel corner. He wasn't really a safety for NC State, and his nickel corner play was really good. Now, did he have some tough reps? Did he have a few more tough reps than I would have liked to have seen? Yeah, I mean, there's a few hiccups here and there, but man, he was a really good football player, and he was very effective in that kind of nickel role, which kind of overlaps with a star, if you will. It just depends on what you want to do, and obviously depends on what the offense is doing. But I think they're going to want to try and see what they can do with Cooley at safety. I don't know. We'll see. But the good news is, and I know you're way more plugged in than I am, but I spoke to someone yesterday about Mansour Delane.
Oh, you've talked about this. Say it. We haven't even talked about this off air.
Yeah, I mean, they really do think he's a real deal. They really do. And like I said,
they think he's the best defensive player on the team. That is what I've heard.
Yeah, I basically along those same lines. I haven't heard basically that, but man, he's good. I mean, I honestly think he would have been drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. I mean, he's really good. So that obviously excites me. So who else is going to step up alongside him?
They say Jakeem. I have heard that the Johnson kid from Florida. They're like, listen.
You mean Jakeem Jackson?
Johnson?
No,
sorry.
I think he said it, but it's fine.
Jakeem Jackson. Sorry. Listen, man, everybody, myself included, thought that he would just throw DJ in there. And I think that he will to some aspects.
Yeah, he'll play.
I mean, look, it's going to weed itself out. That's what they see right now. But then it asked me the question, too, like if we're going to talk DB, where does Ashton Stamps go? My question with Ashton Stamps is, can he play free safety? You don't have a free safety. At least I know Ashton will actually give me more effort than I've ever saw at that position.
Yeah, I'm fine to try him. I mean, I don't. And this is
go ahead. Yeah,
nothing is. Stamps was really struggling at the end of last season. I mean, it was tough. And I will also say I'm just not as high on Jakeem Jackson as others. But I've also heard the same thing from the same person that it's looked good at this point in camp. But we'll see. Obviously, he's got the traits, top 100 recruit. Corey liked him, obviously coming out of high school, and he's one of his guys. So I'm excited to see what happens, and hopefully Lance Guidry, the new addition, who we've talked about plenty of times, is going to add a lot of juice to the secondary.
I hope so too. By the way, speaking of people that I keep hearing people talk about, if you're a running back in that room, Harlan Berry has passed you up.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited. The guy just glides, man. He doesn't run, he glides. I mean, he's something.
I heard that a throwing session happened and he couldn't get stopped.
Let's go, man. He's got juice, man. He's got real juice. Obviously, I worry about his weight, but
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, but some guys it doesn't matter. So hopefully that is the case next year.
I hope so too. All right, Carter, the Power Bryant. Good evening, good sir. You know I love talking football with you. All right.
Cheers.
That is Carter, the Power Bryant. All right, we're out of here with him. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good night. Peace.